Hello, welcome back. I'm going to still talk about King Paimon, the book, The Lord of the Endless Silence, the Lord of the Abyss, or our thematic, The Void and the Silence. And this is recording part of an album with different recordings about the book, about the process of writing the book, about Paimon, or different exercises, or different type of knowledge that I've researched or that I have found or that I've imagined for the book as well. It has been like a process of finding as the author, so to say, the right cover, the right title, the thematic of the book, how it came to me, how I read about it, how I found out which character is who, and then I have created a story, a book about King Paimon. The manuscript, the book, it is a long book. It's a hymn called The Whispers of the Abyss. And in these recordings we have talked about different elements or different exercises that King Paimon teaches now. And his name, as I've said, has an importance as well in the way it is said or written in the text as well. If one reads, Paimon appears in different letters, sometimes upper class letters, sometimes uppercase, sometimes lowercase, so sometimes with a point after, sometimes as Paimon, sometimes as King Paimon, sometimes with different epithets, different names for him, in his representation in the book. And this has a meaning to it, of course, as well. Someone to say, or when Paimon starts to talk or speak, he is introduced. No one knows when King Paimon arrives. One understands who King Paimon is as well. And we have discussed the different elements or symbols that accompany him, almost to say, well, there are ways now to know when Paimon is there, or when Paimon, in spirit, or how to say his essence, or through the book as a character, brings these elements together. There's a lot that can be said about King Paimon as well. One can talk historically, one can talk as a fictional character in my novel, in my book. At the same time, there are other books where he appears, or there are other beliefs about him as well. And there is a historical character connected to King Paimon. The book is not about this. The book is about King Paimon. It's about it's a hymn, it's a poem, it's a love story, it's finally a novel, fantasy novel. That is very full with imagery, is very, very beautiful. And King Paimon speaks, talks, shows himself, or shares from his wisdom. At the same time, there are other people from the past talking about King Paimon, of who King Paimon is, or different lessons, or different short stories that have some type of meaning to them. There's always a hidden meaning, or something that one can meditate on through the lyrics, through the hymn, through the verses, through the story as well, throughout the book. And there is, of course, always the element of, almost if you imagine a labyrinth of glass, of mirrors, you see different reflections of yourself, but none of them is you, because there's only one you. That's like the first lesson of Paimon. At the same time, of course, the different reflections of you or of that person in the mirrors shows different aspects of the same person. So it's not false, but it's not real. It just mirrors back, so to say. It's a mirror. And almost like in a camera, you have the focal point. There's the main point, the main center, And the different visions that I had with King Paimon were very beautiful. The one on his throne, almost like I talk about it in the poem as well. I've tried to create a story throughout, the book, with the visions that I had and the inspirations and my work, with Paimon, connecting myself to him or to his spirit in some way or another, Almost like I decided to write this book together with him, almost like he was my teacher, and I was the student writing the book and trying to make no mistakes and create a nice text, a nice story. And it made me get to know him. No, it's through that as a teacher how he is. No. And I can only say it was very helpful, of course. Like I could not have done it without him, no. That he is the main subject, he is the main character of the book, King Paimon, and it has been very interesting in these recordings to talk about his names or the different exercise and meditations about the historical figure of King Paimon, who is King Paimon, how he represents himself. And then in the book the story changes when he meets the girl in the market. I have spoken about these thematics in other recordings as well about King Paimon. There's always a sense of more, and at the same time there's always a sense of repetition, because these are the essential elements of King Paimon. That's the meaning of the repetition, no? We have talked in one recording as well about the numerology of King Paimon name, or the name itself, Paimon, no? How it's connected, or how I try to connect the dots, or try to find some meaning beyond his name, no, what it represents. And they all can be seen as a part of an exercise. No, King Paimon is always teaching. King Paimon is always it's like the perfect teacher, no, a perfect master. Sometimes the visions he shows are very, very unique, definitely very beautiful. There's always the element of wonder, of beauty, of something grandeur, or something extremely interesting, extremely potent, extremely powerful, extremely important. And there's always the element of the snake, which we have talked about as well, but sometimes I speak about other elements, and this remains a little behind, but it is an important symbol of Paimon as well, no? The ancient aspect, the black python I have seen in his throne chamber, no? In that vision, it was very much connected with the water and with the ancient knowledge of water as well, no? The black is always the representative color of Paimon. And it's not only any type of black, it's the clay of black. It's like the dark feather, no? The raven, that type of black, like charcoal, no? Dark clay. That's how Paimon represents himself as well, in the book as well. There are different aspects, different facets of Paimon that is offered in the book as well. And the moment he meets the girl in the market, the story changes. There's a element of relief, no, element of a soft wind, a hot wind. It is in the desert, in a village, and it's almost like 11, no, when the sun starts to burn the brightest, no, 11 o'clock. It's the girl is in the market playing her music, and almost at that time Paimon appears, no. And the girl doesn't talk to him, but in her heart she whispers, "Take me with you." And almost like Paimon, because he is the Lord of the Silence, he was able to hear that, no? Even if it was not muttered, it was not voiced. And he stops and he comes down from his dromedary, and he goes to the girl and asks her, "Child of Earth, where have you learned to play so beautiful music?" And the girl looks the first time at him and closed, and she answers him, I didn't learn, I created as I played, or I don't know. In the book there's more beautiful verse. As I said, the entire story is written in verse hymn form, but there's something like that now. And then immediately Paimon recognizes her, no? She represents the music, the song, and he represents the silence, and he was looking for her. Now there's the image of the dromedary as well as a camel prepared for her, and he asks her to go on this travel, on this journey through the desert with him, and she accepts, and they go on this beautiful travel. I have talked in other recordings as well about these beautiful scenes. It's one of like the main, I like the highlight from my point of view of the book as well. Now it's like this beautiful change, this element of new, of the future, of the possibility of the beauty and all the elements that connect Paimon, no? To the girl, to the market, to the desert, the camel, the dromedary, the music, the silence, they all have a deep meaning. And there are, of course, many other aspects and facets of the book. I cannot easily make a resume. It is a large book, and of course some things I don't want to leave it unknown. I must say one has to read, no one has to discover by himself or herself as well by reading the book. It is published on Amazon. It's called King Paimon, The Lord of the Endless Silence, The Lord of the Abyss, written by Anai's Giulia, and you can get it on Amazon in paper, and you can read at home. It is a large book. It is a grimoire. It has 745 pages, and it is a poem. It's a very beautiful poem. And the recordings, as I've said, have been a little bit almost like me meditating or talking about the book or doing different exercises, to show how one works with Paimon, or how it was for me, the element of writing the book. And there's been like a lot of work, of course, correcting and the text and making it through the end to say, well, I am pleased with the form, and it is ready to publish. And I have published it a few weeks ago, and one can purchase it on Amazon internationally. If you put King Paimon and Anais Giulia, you find it on Amazon. And there are some other books too as well that I have written, and some other books I'm still working the last few corrections, and I'm going to publish as well very soon. And even if I've published a book already, I still want to talk about King Paimon or whatever other things that can be interesting regarding this book or this thematic. I didn't want to stop the recordings. I do find them interesting, and of course because they are connected to the book as well. And I did do 2 recordings with the text from the book, me reading from the beginning, and one can get a better idea now of how the text or how the poem sounds. Even if it does change from the poems, it's just the beginning, the story does change, the rhythms change, the words change, the meaning, the story goes through those verses page by page, And I did find very interesting the recording with the numerology and the name. I think I've done 2 recordings about the name King Paimon. One was with the numbers, and one was with colors or different geometrical forms. And almost to say each letter now represents a certain number, and different repetitions and the meaning of repetitions. What it means now connected to Paimon, what insights I could find regarding the numbers. And there is now sometimes thinking, well, what else? No one can think about the book. The cover, no, it's a little like, it's not exactly the vision that I had with King Paimon, but somehow I felt that it was the right cover for the book, and especially because there was some type of cathedral and some light, there's the element of the robes that Paimon wear, and then the element of the green, especially with the black as well, and him being very tall, there's this element of grandeur of King Paimon. We have spoken even about the different symbols or animals, or who King Paimon is as well, the different aspects now of his magic, or his chamois, or his history, or his genetic, or his tribe, or his historical origin, or his meaning throughout the history. In some places, he's not to say very known necessarily, but that doesn't speak about the the magnitude of the high alto, no, that King Paimon is, of course, not. That's almost like say, well, another lesson of King Paimon, no? That's the thing. King Paimon always teaches lessons. Almost if you imagine him talk and you listen, no? He's teaching you, he's telling you, he's guiding you, or he's giving some insights. And that's like the help, no? That's the element of the keys that he offers. That's the interesting element. There's at the same time a lot of freedom that comes with Paimon. He teaches different subjects in different ways. Writing, he's more like constrained and very exact and very clear-minded, very almost like scientifically creative, and he's more strict into that. With music, I find it very most enduring, creative, and very visionary, very much through visions, images, or symbols. And those symbols and those elements, of course, appear in the book as well. It is very nice, unison, the elements, Paimon, the atmospheric, the scenes, now where it is played, the story. One goes through a journey as well. When one reads the book, no, there's a certain travel as well from the beginning through the stories that move, no? This element of the wave, of the tunes, the soft transitions. There's always some type of connection to that as well. And in the element of writing, he's very exact, as I've said. Of course, writing is a very exact science, or almost like it is now, because you combine words, and especially when you write lyrical or hymnic prose, or verses, or especially when it's a long text as well that goes, no, it needs some extra elements, some extra important elements that it's successful, no. And the story does go on and on. There's always the element of change, or some soft wind, or some new insights, or some different times, no? And the story goes through, but it's always very much, of course, connected to Paimon and the character of Paimon. The moment the girl appears, they are always together, no? They always stay together, so there's the element of them, no, being with one another from the first moment. It has been the main, no, connection, the main love that they share, the recognition that in that moment, no, of their first meeting. And there's always a romantic, very much at the same time, no, very special type of union between him and his bride, or his future bride. As I've said, her character changes now from the girl in the market, somehow almost say it changes to his future bride, and into his bride. And then they remain together. There is the element of the song and the silence, no, the silence and the song together. And the experience of reading the book, no, it is of course individual, different for each person. At the same time, for me as the author, it has been, of course, a different experience writing the book, and I'm very curious too as well. When I read and have the book in the hands, there's always a certain type of pleased joy that I have now, to see my work published, to see it in paper, to enjoy it in this way, to read from it, and to have, the literal book. It is almost one of the main reasons I write books, to see my idea now in paper, in something that others can buy and can read, and for me as well. It is very different. I like to have it in paper, and I'm always curious how the book will look, or how the book looks. Of course, one is very pleased now when one sees that one has done a good work, and I'm sure the book is very beautiful. I don't have it yet in paper, but I think very soon, and I will for sure share the experience, and I'll be able to read from it more easily. Thank you so much for listening. Until next time, take care. Bye.